Hello, friends. On this glorious day in drink history, I'm feeling very in love. Because life, like a great bottle of whiskey, is meant to be shared with others. And today I feel so fortunate to be celebrating my 1-year anniversary with a truly exceptional lady. Great drinks have been a common theme throughout our relationship. We first met at a winery. We both work in this thirsty industry, and we've had so many great memories visiting iconic drinking destinations around the world together. So today, I raise a glass to my lovely, talented, beautiful, creative, and incredibly amazing wife, Ashley, for sharing this whimsical journey with me. Let's do this. This episode of the Educational Drinking Show is sponsored by Junipero Gin, which is the original American craft gin going back to 1996 and the pioneering work of Fritz Maytag, which also makes it the gin of San Francisco. At 98.6 proof, Junipero is a bit stronger than most gins and perfect in your favorite gin cocktail. Good stuff. Today is a special day on the Educational Drinking Show because for the first time I have not one but two guests at once. And ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those episodes that reminds you just how amazing cocktail culture truly is. My guests today are Nectaly Mendoza and Joe Pereira of Herbs Rye in Las Vegas. Located several miles off the Strip, Herbs Rye has defied the odds to become one of the top bars in Las Vegas and a touchstone for cocktail culture in the city. Keep in mind that the Las Vegas bar scene is one of such excess that Gatsby himself wouldn't believe it. It's bright lights and big budgets and luxurious spaces that overwhelm the senses in a never-ending space race to constantly one-up the status quo for opulence. From the outside, Herbs Rye is the complete antithesis of this. But on the inside and in terms of experience, the best I can do is sum it up into two words: soul and love. Soul because you can overwhelmingly feel the passion for the cocktail craft, and love because there's a welcoming warmth in this space emanating from behind the bar to be shared by all who take part. It's a special experience for sure, and when you add the fact that you can get a world-class steak to enjoy with your drink, well, my mind was blown. So, it is my great pleasure to share with you my interview with Nectaly and Joe from Herbs Rye in Las Vegas.
I've always felt that the money, and this is coming from somebody, I worked in the nightclubs, I worked in every aspect of the industry, period. Money can somewhat handicap you because you don't have that grit, that grind to you. Something breaks, you can just buy a new one. Opposed to something breaks, that's all we got. You got to make it work. To me, it's really just a matter of building a team, getting them confident, creating a structure to where everybody believes in it, and every member on your team is a finger on the hand, and once they clinch together and you make a fist, that's how you make a punch in the industry. And that's, for me, just the way it operates and just the way it works. When it comes to having big money and big things thrown at you, it can almost disperse and destroy a team, because you have a lot of you got to realize bartenders are now superstars. We get paid to fly around the world. We get taken to the nicest dinners. We're spoiled now, and not in a bad way. But we are the celebrities of our time now. And when that happens, the industry and the money can somewhat separate that team. They can start nitpicking your team and breaking them apart. And it's happened to some of the greatest bars in the world, opposed to with our focus and our goal and our vision is we expand ourselves. We take from the waters that we provide and we stick together as a team and as a unit. And when you create a team like that that's unbreakable, gold.
Yeah, pure gold. I think one of the dilemmas that Las Vegas as a whole faces comes down to one word: authenticity. people from the outside who come to visit and value this as the adult playground, and look at all the things that have been built up and rebuilt, especially in the last 20, 25 years. What is authentic about Las Vegas? The flamingos are fake. The pools are fake.
The rhino's real.
The rhino is real. Oh, man, the rhino is real. Legs and eggs breakfast. It's my favorite place in all of the valley. But that being said, in reality, being 3 miles off the strip, having a team, a family of people who have come together who have essentially worked on the strip and off the strip as well, to be in a place where you drive up to Herbs Rye, it's not much to look at, but it's real, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been there prior to it being Herbs Rye. It was a long-storied restaurant space that a lot of the people who have lived here for generations frequented, and it was a Venetian. And that has a significant history in Las Vegas. It closes down, unfortunately, and Nectaly steps in a few years later, and through the grit, the grind, through the reality of something broken, man, I don't know how I'm going to fix this, through the aspect of one person comes in and it doesn't work out, and now you are not only the chef, the bartender, but you're also the waiter. Nectaly had to do all 3 of those positions in one night. Not one night, a few nights, right?
A lot.
A lot. So through all of that, you create this incredible recipe of authenticity. And we've been really lucky, especially for me, starting off going to Herbs Rye as a guest, drinking my pisco sours before I even sat down at the bar. Nectaly had it right in front of me waiting, to becoming a part of the team, becoming a part of the staff and the family. I mean, that's real.
Totally. And as a leader in the organization, what do you really do to instill those values and make sure that they resonate with your team?
You grab people from all walks of life. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about hospitality. So you got people that from all walks of life. Everybody's different. I think in the industry that we're in, for a while there, people were trying to build robots, right? Hey, here's the best bar tools in the world. Here is the perfect shaker. It's sterling gold, whatever it is. You ordered it from some eBay that there's only 3 available of. They steal one and now you can't even use the other 2. It's like you try to create this situation that's forced, and it's just not going to happen. It's not, plain and simple. You got to create what is natural. Everybody is different. You see some bar managers, they'll walk in and real simple, something as far as, you got to jigger this way and pour this way and do this way. Yeah, you have, consistencies at your bar, but you got to let them be them. Mm-hmm. You got to let, your people shine for them being them. I don't need Emily to act like Joe. I don't need Joe to act like me. I don't need anybody to act like anybody. I need you to not act, and I've said this before, do you want to be a clown or do you want to be a person?
That was a heavy conversation that he laid on me one night behind the bar, and it jacked me up for a couple of days. And then he came back and he said, you think about it. And I said, yeah, but go ahead, finish that.
It's just one of those things where when you're building a team, you have to realize that you are part of that team. And you have to take blame for the performance of that team. Whether you want to consider yourself a leader or whatever it is you want to call yourself. I don't consider myself any of it. I consider myself somebody who surrounds myself by great people, and magic is made. It's really that simple. When you have people that are around you, anybody can grab somebody and like everything about them, all the goods, right? If you're a great bartender, they say, hey, hire this guy. He's super fast, and he's good-looking girl or good-looking guy. Anybody can do that. That is simple, okay? Care and love that person for what he's not. What are they not? What is he not good at? And make that great. Polish that aspect of it, because it's easy to do what everybody else is doing. If they're not fast in the well, if they're not, emotionally there. What do you do to make that better, not just for this moment and this exact time, but for their future and for who they are as a person in the long run? We're building people here. We're not building bartenders. It's a big difference. I don't want to see bartenders in 10 years behind Herbs Rye. I want to see business owners. I want to see fathers, mothers. I want to see people who are whatever they choose in their life they're happy with. At this moment in time, I look at bartending as a celebration. We're celebrating now because this is the best thing that we can be doing right now in our lives, so we're enjoying this exact moment. If I can help you do anything to get to any other position, let's do that. Joe can walk up to me tomorrow and say, I don't want to do this no more because it doesn't make me happy. I'm going to look at him and be like, well, what does make you happy? And let's move into that direction, When it comes to hospitality, you always get these people who will come in and they'll give you this, I call it the common sense business plan, right? I'm going to open a bar, and we're going to have badass cocktails, badass food, and it's going to be a great ambiance. And you're looking at him like, well, no shit. Because I don't think anyone's going to walk in here and be like, yo, dude, I'm going to open this bar, and it's going to have, fucked up drinks, shitty food. And, you told me you already gave me what is common sense.
Yeah.
How do you really let that shine? Does Herbs have the best cocktails? Well, I don't know. Do we have the best food? I mean, probably, maybe. But it's that is a mere garnish of what we're doing. I've said this a million times. It is the situation that you create. When people walk through the door at Herbs Rye, look at their faces, and it's funny because they walk in, and if it's their first time, they're like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Absolutely, this is my first time. I can't wait to experience. When they walk in the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth time, you look at their faces. They walk in and they're like, "Fuck, this is now a situation that I'm in. This is no longer I'm gonna go grab a quick bite to eat and I'm gonna head out. This is
No, that doesn't happen. Right? There's no quick bite to eat.
You walk in and you're like, yo, can I really do this tonight? Yeah. Dude, I was supposed to be here last night. I fucked up. I got home at 5 a.m. I don't even Joe drove me home.
I've actually done that a couple times. Jeez.
It's creating that and creating that in a positive direction. I think a lot of people take having fun, drinking and enjoying yourselves and being around good company to let's get shit-faced, take our shirt off and start throwing stuff, get wild. Does that happen at bars? Yeah, maybe, I don't know, but being in full control of your team, of everybody around you, in every situation around you is one of the best feelings in the world. And to me, that's how great teams are built. That's how great bars are built. It's simply being in control and being understanding of the situation for the present and looking at the situation for the longevity of what it is.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of mistakes too. I mean, one of the things before Nectaly and company and our family traveled to New Orleans in 2014 to participate at Tales of the Cocktail Bar Brawl. One of the things I told Nectaly, I was just like, just remember that you're going to this not based on your success per se. You're going based on the recovery of your failures and the things that we've learned along the way that we've made mistakes on, maybe once or twice, but we eventually got it and expanded on that and did it right, not just one time, but another time, a second time, a third time, a fourth time. Gosh, I've personally had missteps, whether it was on social media or whether I had a bad night behind the bar and what was I going to do the next day to just make the difference, not just on Wednesday, but the following days as well, and build up on that.
And how does the team around you handle that? I remember I worked at a bar one time and a bar back. This guy maybe started 2 weeks ago, right? He breaks a bunch of glasses. And here runs over the manager.
You're talking about me, right?
No.
Because I broke more than a couple glasses.
No, yours is trays. Trays. No, here comes this manager, right? And he's just here he comes, he's in the suit and he's, what the fuck is going on here? And he just starts lighting this kid up. And I'm sitting there like, God damn, that is crazy. And he looks at me and, he's like, oh, you think you would have handled it better? How would you have handled it? I said, well, the first question out of my mouth would have been, hey, are you all right? Did you cut yourself? What's the problem? I think people lack that human aspect. At the end of the day, look, man, we're in this together. It's not me over you. It's not you over me. And I think people confuse me watching over you opposed to me looking down upon you. Mm-hmm. Same line of sight, big difference. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to build myself better every day, and the people around me build me every day. I mean, I'm where I'm at today not because of me. Trust me when I tell you that. It's because of the people around me. I don't cut checks to employees. They pay themselves. I simply disperse it back to what they've earned. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people are confused in that.
Earlier you said enjoying the moment. And I have to think that awareness and mindfulness and enjoying the moment in the process has to be an important factor in doing what you guys do, with the enemy of that being cruise control and just going through the motions. And, bartending can be a grind, day in and day out. How do you keep that instilled in your staff and keep that enthusiasm and that passion and just keep performing at such a high level?
Misery loves company and vice versa. When you got one person who starts to be a little miserable, it is the team's duty to pull them out of that. It's not a one-man show. I'm not walking around there with, the drum on my back and, the maraca, and, trying to do everything myself. Look, we all fall. We all falter. Your team as a whole has to encourage you, has to be on top of you. There's certain times when I've had bartenders, go on spells for months when they're just not right in life at that moment. It's my duty as a friend and as a person who cares about this person before Herbs Rye and before everything to pick up that slack, to make sure that they're comfortable knowing that they're good. A lot goes into that. It's not just what goes on behind the bar. It's what goes on everything around it. Every single one of our teammates has been at my house. We've had personal discussions. Like, I don't sit in a meeting and scold people. Like, you would be amazed on, and this is something I got from Joe, you'd be amazed on what you would get out of simply just sitting somebody down and saying, what's going on? What is going on? And you would be amazed on the answer. I think people lack communication. Yo, this person's mad at you. Oh, give me a second. I'll be right back. Why? I'm going to go talk to him.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, I've been on both sides of that as well. Goodness gracious. And when you simply ask that question, what's going on, you're not going to get an answer in 5 seconds or 10 seconds. This might be a conversation that an hour after you initiated the conversation, then you finally pick up on what's going on with that person.
Perhaps there's not a bigger compliment for a bar than other bartenders, hanging out and coming in and spending time at your bar. And there were an awful lot of bartenders at Herbs Rye when I was there the other night. And also, as I just talked to bartenders around town, you guys have become kind of a cultural touchstone for the bartending community here. Can you talk to me about that?
Man,
that's an award in itself.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I can't express to you the love we get from the bartending community. And it's not just Vegas. Like, we have loyalty in Vegas. And we have a group of amazing people. I mean, if I could put all the bartenders from Vegas in one room, I wouldn't even thank you. I mean, what do I say to that? They are the heartbeat of Herbs Rye. They are what has made Herbs Rye be what it is. They're the silent marketers. They're the people who defend us when and we get attacked a lot in Vegas. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, it's a powerful and for me an emotional thing as well.
Yeah, I mean we have people. I mean we take it from all angles, right? And through and through. I mean, we have a few that pop off at the mouth. You know, you gotta love those guys too. But through and through, you got a humble crowd of of guys who just simply look at it and not they turn the other cheek, but they just know that they're wrong, and they just know that we're not doing stupid things out here. We're making a difference, and we're making a move. Are we doing it? Is it accurate and as efficient as other cities? Probably not. Maybe we're doing it different. Absolutely. But I mean, Herbs is on the mainstream in the eyes and in the ears of global recognition because of our community around us. I mean, it's where you go to laugh, to cry, to celebrate, to break up. I mean, it's crazy.
And to make up.
Yeah, to make
It's my favorite pot, but it hasn't happened in a minute.
But
so.
yeah, the bartenders in Vegas. I mean, you got anywhere from your, from your Keith Bakers to your Eric, Eric Botras to all the way down to your Oak and Ivy teams and your tacos and beers, and then you got your strip, Vesper bartenders, and I mean these guys build a community.
One of the biggest compliments, and I hate to jump over you, but I will say this, is that we have the union is a very large and distinctive pot of Las Vegas, and there's the Union Bartenders Association, and in order to work in union casinos and bars, you have to have a union pour card, so you have to take these classes that last I think about 20 weeks.
Yeah.
And you show up twice a week and you take these classes and you earn your pour card, and therefore you're able to get a really great union gig, highest hourly wage, medical health benefits, all of those things. Well, the compliment is that the director sends or requests as part of one of their classes for all their students to come to Herbs Rye and to sit at the well, and whoever's working the well, most of the time it's usually Emily or Matthias, and sit and watch. So now here's this great opportunity of like all of these bartenders who may have bartended before in other parts of the city or other parts of the country, who are now getting their union card, who will come in and sit down and watch, and not necessarily learn something in terms of this great new cocktail that they're going over in their class, but what is happening is an authentic, organic moment in which two people or a group of people are getting to know each other because they share something in common, and this craft, this profession, and it just spills over.
I'll say this. I will say that Las Vegas has a lot of bartenders who are on their way to being great bartenders, impeccable bartenders. Are they there yet? No. I mean, who is really, right? I mean, it's tough to be a Morgenthaler. It's tough to be a Snyder, a Sean Kenyon. It's tough to be those guys because those guys, they're seasons, they're phenoms of their trade. Your Charles Jolies and your John LeMayers. These people are people who are like they've been doing it for years. I see Vegas bartenders potentially being able to get there someday. That's what is motivation to me. Are they there yet? No. But the good part of that is they understand they're not there yet. So as much as people come in and say, they're not this, they're not this, they're not this, I'm sitting there looking at it like, guys, don't get mad. They're right. We're not this. But give us 5-6 years, and we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. It's like, it's like watching that 18-year-old kid play basketball, and you just know he's going to make it into the league. It's just a matter of is it our time? And I think a lot of people right now feel it's Herbs Rye's time as a whole, but the city of Las Vegas as a whole, we got a lot to do. But definitely it's become the clubhouse because we respect every aspect of not just bartenders alone, the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, you are right. How did we cultivate this? It happened over a course of time. Nectaly being in the industry for many years, being a hometown kid, when tremendous odds were faced against him, and he just hung in there. I mean, he really did, and he.
But it was just me. It was everybody hung in there.
No,
yeah.
the leadership was there, yes, and there's still a lot of people who employ there since Herbs and Rye. We opened from day one.
Yeah.
When did you guys open?
December 15th, 2009, my mom's birthday.
Nice.
Yeah. And to be where we're at now and to still have a majority of the staff there is absolutely incredible. But along the way, the people who first came to Herbs and Rye, myself included, are still there. And just to see the good, the bad, and the ugly in his and our great success has just been absolutely wonderful. I mean, even folks who wrote about us, Anya Woodman, who showed us a tremendous amount of support early on. And then we got a really great visit a few years ago by, Dushan Zarek, and who has just blessed us with praise. And whenever he's in town, he stops by. And
all in all, it's just expanded over the industry.
It's just awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's just great. I mean, they support us. We support them. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit, and this is a departure for me on this podcast, but we got to talk about your meat program because it was kind of awesome. So I'm a ribeye guy.
There we go.
And I sat down and I knew I wanted a steak. I think the ribeye is 18 ounces. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm in for 18 ounces right now. So I went for the New York, and I haven't had a New York in a while.
Yeah.
Wow. It was so good. And that rub, the herbs and rye. Okay, tell me what's going on here, because it was something special.
Yeah, I saw your plate. Yeah. I saw what you did to your plate.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
People sleep on the fact that herbs crushes the food. I mean,
my goodness, tell them. We just had a conversation with somebody downstairs 20 minutes ago in the lobby about our food and had been coming to Herbs.
Yeah.
And didn't realize.
I won't compare us to anybody else because obviously we're different, but I know that a lot of people don't even know this. We didn't even start off as a steakhouse.
Really?
No, not at all. We started off serving fucking Mediterranean flatbreads, like kind of, I don't know what the fuck we're doing, to be honest with you. But we adjusted, right? It didn't work. So it kind of went like more Italian theme. When I had lost everything, when Herbs was getting ready to shut down, I said, I'm not going to go down like this. I want to do what I'm going to do. And I wanted a steakhouse. So we did that, and it hit. We made these changes within 3-4 months of us opening, so that's why a lot of people don't even remember it. But we didn't open with the menu that we had now. And we did have great food. It just didn't work out for that moment. But the kitchen, what can I say? I'm going to be honest with you. Our executive chef goes by the name of Mariano Ochoa. I brought on Mariano Ochoa because one of my closest friends in the world, Casey Dominguez, gave me a call and said, yo, my nephew just got shot. Whoa. And he's going to culinary school. And this kid he knows how to cook. He's young. He's like 20, 21. He wants to start off as a dishwasher or something, but he wants to keep going to school. And I said, send him my way. I met him, real shy kid, real shy. Till this day, he's still shy. But he's opened up a little more. He's learned to drink, So, but
and we like to hug each other.
Yeah. But he came onto the program. I mean, you're talking about a young guy. I mean, this guy's 24, 25 now.
Is he?
Yeah. Mario's that young. He's that young, and the better Herbs and Rye got was because of how smarter and how educated, how much he educated himself, which is the crazy part. So the better you see our kitchen get every day is because Mariano's sitting there reading books, YouTubing stuff, learning stuff from other chefs. Like, I am not going to take the credit for that at all. I mean, I got my master butcher certification because I wanted to learn how to butcher. He got his a year later. If you put us side by side, I don't hold the candle to the guy. I mean, you got to realize this guy's butchering loin upon loin every single day. I mean, the meat program that we have is impeccable. It's awesome. We butcher everything in house. I mean, it's just great. But Mariano started off as a dishwasher / porter, and I only had one other cook and myself cooking because I would cook. Mariano would wash the dishes and do like fryer and saute, and then there was another guy named Herbert, who's now the executive sous chef or assistant to. And those guys were with me from the beginning. And then as we went hiring, I went showing them, this is how you put in the order. This is how we pass health codes. This is how we did everything. And then he would come to me and say, hey, this is how we did this. So that kitchen is 100% homegrown. It's one of the biggest things I take pride in at Herbs is I look at that kitchen and like, man, that is Mariano's kitchen, period. It wouldn't be the same without him. Plain and simple. Is he the best? Is he going to give you a 5-star Michelin? Fuck no. And he don't want to. He doesn't want to. If you want somebody who's going to sit there and bleed Herbs and Rye and say, yo, I am Herbs and Rye, and I'm going to produce thousands of pounds of meat out of this kitchen consistently with these badass sides, badass, entrees, appetizers, that's who you go to. It's just him. It's his program. It's what he is in every aspect of it. I have chefs who come in from other places, they're just like, how does this place operate? And
it just works.
And they see Mariano, they're just like, man, that makes perfect fucking sense because he's such a non-diluted mind. It was so clear to him, and he had to adjust as business. You got to realize we had a 30% increase year upon year. Our first year, our first month, we rang up what I ring in a day and a half now.
Wow.
Or not for our first month was like 32 something, whatever.
No, tell the truth. It's okay. It's okay to just brag a little bit. We did it together. We just
in 1 month. Our first month, we hit what we hit in 2 days now. So
wow.
So that being said, we went from ordering 1 case of meat a week to now we're taking in almost 36 to 42 cases of beef probably every 2 days.
Wow.
So and you're talking we're taking full loin, right? So you do the math. I asked Mariano one time, and this is just how he is. And I said, Mariano, how much beef do you think you've cut a year? And he's like, a fuck ton. Don't ask me stupid questions. Like
sounds like Mariano.
It's just like started laughing, and he's just looking at me. He's like, and he laughs about it. He's not rude, mean, nothing.
Yeah.
And he's just this young man who came from a kid and just had no, impurities in his career. He built that himself.
Wow.
And if you want to talk about somebody who doesn't get the play that he needs at Herbs and Rye, it's definitely Mariano Cha.
Can you tell me what's going on with the signature rub?
Oh man,
he can get that up. Are you kidding?
No, he probably will.
I'd body slam him if he did right now, and that'd be one hell of a feat. Are you kidding?
No, I'll tell you this with Mariano, man. Mariano doesn't hold back on recipes done like that. If you want him, he'll give them to you. He told me this, and I learned this from Mariano. And to take this from a 21, he told me this when he was probably 22 years old. He says, why hide recipes? It makes no sense. You give them out. It doesn't matter. It's like holding back the recipes to your cocktails, Nectaly. Give them all out. It doesn't matter. They got to have the touch. They got to have the pizzazz. They have to have you. It needs you.
Yeah.
It's not the recipe. It's you. And I remember looking at him and like, damn, this dude's 22 years old. He told me this like,
oh man,
he didn't even have a deal yet. It was like he was still on a paycheck. He wasn't even on salary yet. Like this dude is, he's as real as it gets, man.
Yeah.
And I love that guy. But he never holds anything back. Definitely the cup is always half full with him. And he's a leader. He's a teacher. And the one thing I admire about him is I give a lot of people chances, opportunities. He gives people opportunities that are the half-nots, that are like, I can't describe it to you.
Yeah.
Like he gives people he sees stuff in people, and it works for him. Like he has. If you looked at his line, I would hate to be in a bar brawl with them. And you got you got a 2-time felon boxer. You got another dude who's just and they're loyal to him.
Yeah.
And they love him, and they'll do whatever he says, and vice versa. He'll do that for them, but he definitely knows how to create bonds of loyalty. He's just cut from a different cloth.
Cool.
Man. He's a great dude. But,
so essentially, I mean,
but if you asked him to do this podcast right now,
he wouldn't do it.
His answer would be like, the spice rum's good.
But
And then you'd go on to the next question, like, do you have the recipe? And he'd be like, yes. Like, that's how he is. You're not gonna get more.
But what's the general gist of it for folks that haven't had a chance to try it? Because it's so unique.
So basically, what we do is we take a blend of 3 different types of oils, and then what we do is we add. It's almost, I think it's like 9 different. I don't want to fuck his recipe up, but he has like 9 different herbs and spices that he lets just sit.
in the oil blend.
The oil blend, and then he goes stirring it as he goes every day.
It's like chili oil, right?
It's basically he's creating a chili paste, chili oil, which he fine mesh strains. Now that chili oil he makes his own, and that's what he uses for the flatbreads, for a few of the other dishes, right? And then what is left as far as the paste goes, that's what he uses as his rub.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, but there's a lot of stuff in there. I mean, there's like, blended down chilies. There's, I mean, I don't want to mess it up, but I mean, he has like cayenne, paprika. I mean, obviously your basics.
Yeah, just don't be sly. You're being elusive right now. But the touch is what matters most. Just get this great story.
Yeah.
George D. Pereira, God rest his soul, he was the soup maker for all the presidents up until last year. He passed away, and you reminded me of this story right quick. So George D. Pereira and I are hanging out at the bar and we're having this great conversation, and this young lady comes up to him, and they're sitting down at the bar, and they're about to leave. He pays the tab, and they're going home. And George Pereira at this time was about 79, 80 years old. So I'm making fun of him. I was like, George, hey, don't forget that blue pill. You're going to need to take that. And, short, white hair, good guy. He goes, blue pill? I don't need a blue pill. I just need a woman and a soft touch. So the fact of the matter is, you brought that point up, and Nectaly believes in people with that soft touch, and Mariano has that soft touch in that kitchen. I wish we could give you the recipe as a whole without jacking it up, but whatever he does, he puts a lot of
It's
heart
worth
and
it.
soul.
It's worth the trip.
It's delicious, and it's just like
Dude does magic, man. He really does.
So looking at the cocktail program, I love the way you guys structured the list, doing it by eras. Can you talk to me about the vision of the drinks themselves, how you present it on the menu, and kind of the overall experience you're trying to get?
That's a funny story. I don't know if you know this story, but G Money, Gerardo Del Toro, the guy who opened Herbs Rye with me, he hates this story, but I had created this cocktail list, and it was like 12 cocktails, and it was like, basil, kaffir, lime, vodka, gin infused with watermelon, just like all this, like your typical strip, like, your typical strip cocktail list. And I did the training with the whole entire crew, and we're getting ready to open Herbs Rye. And I was going back and forth. At that time, my brother, who was one of the founding fathers of herbs, he was diagnosed with cancer. So we were back and forth during the opening, going back from the hospital back to Herbs Rye, back and forth, back and forth. And I remember getting to Herbs, and my brother was like, "Don't sell yourself short." And I was like, "Man, like, why would he say that to me?" And it just really like bothered me. And I'm like, all right. So I get to Herbs, and I'm like, we open in 12 hours, and the bar is set up, everything's ready to go. G's walking out, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Nothing." He's like, "What are you doing right now? You're doing something. You got that look in your eye. Let's go home now." And I said, no, I'm just gonna finish up some paperwork, and I'll be home. And I grabbed the cocktail list, and I was like, man, this cocktail list fucking sucks. This cocktail list is horrible. And this is not what I'm going to make my name, represent myself. And I was reading a book, Paul Harrington, Cocktails of the 21st Century, that night. Michael McDonnell, who is one of the most motivational people in my career, had given me. And I started reading Cocktails of Prohibition, and I was like, man, I'm just going to break down the eras. Because everybody's like, what kind of cocktail is this? Oh, that's a pre-Prohibition cocktail. Like, no, it's not. You just want to say that because it's cool, So I broke down the eras. And then when I broke down the eras, I'm like, what actually falls into the Golden Ages, to the Gothic Age, to, the Rat Pack, the Tiki era. So when I did that, it was like a reality check to me. So needless to say, 10 hours later, I had typed up a complete new menu and put it in all the menus. So G walks in, he's like, first and foremost, I love you, but what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, yo, these are all just classics that we already know. It's going to be tough. I know. But, you know, we're going to be good. Don't worry. We'll open up and we'll be fine. And we opened up and it was a train wreck.
But, you know,
it took us about like 2 weeks.
That menu did not exist in Las Vegas.
No.
It just didn't. No one in the city did that.
And it was like a storybook, you know. And I remember when people would walk in, the biggest issue, I had no money at the time, but the biggest issue we had is people kept stealing the menus. So it got to the point where I was printing it out on paper because I couldn't afford any more menus. And people just, like, I got to the one point where I was like, yo, I'll give it to you. Just don't take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, the menu itself is a walking timeline of all the ages of American drinking. And I think a lot of people only put in the timelines that they like or that they want to see, you know, and I think a lot of them get, you know, deleted. You know, like for a while there, we had the dark age of American drinking, which was, you know,
the $25 vodka Red Bull.
We had vodka Red Bull. We had an apple martini. We had a Mickey's hand grenade on there, you know.
Talk about the Boone's Farm.
The Boone's Farm. We had Boone's Farm by the bottle. And it was just in that one section. And you'd be amazed. And we would sell it. But it wasn't a matter of if it was good or if it was bad. It was a matter of this really happened. So it's not what I like or what you like. It's like if I make you an aviation, right? And you say, I don't like this aviation. There's no sugar on it. You're not going to be mad at me, but that's the way this cocktail is made.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of cocktails on our list that I still to this day am trying to learn to understand. But this is not my interpretation. This is my paying respect and homage to the people who did this before me. So a lot went into that menu. You know, and it's like there's no sugar in Hemingway. You know, he was a diuretic. But it's more so of letting people understand that this is the way it was, and if you don't like this cocktail, you know what, it's just not for you. Let's find something, not in any cocky way or form, but just, it's not for you. Let's find something else that is good for you. What do you like? What is it? Let's guide you in the right direction. So that cocktail list is a very, very strong key to opening of the door of the experience at Herbs Rye. So
earlier you had mentioned facing some pretty big challenges in bringing the restaurant to life and getting it to where it is today. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Man, that's a whole different podcast.
That's a loaded hot baked potato.
You know, we opened in 2009, the largest recession that the United States had ever felt. And in Las Vegas, you got to realize we had, besides Detroit, the second largest collapse of housing. And this is when I decided to say, let's open Herbs Rye. You know, fucking brilliant.
And honestly, that recession spared no one, myself included. I mean, it was brutal. It was nasty.
I mean, the neighborhood that I lived in was 112 homes, of which 94 of them went vacant.
Wow.
You know, it wasn't a joke. It hit hard. I mean, you got to realize the Bellagio was giving out rooms at $20. A lot of people don't remember that. It was like $20 or $40. Yeah. Downtown was free. You could stay
you were
down,
gaming.
You were gaming.
If you were gaming, you could
downtown
stay free.
Was free. I mean, it was bad. I mean, street performers turned into robbers. Like, you know, it was bad. It turned into the Wild West. And when we opened up, everything was going for us mentally. We were mentally prepared. I had one of the strongest people in my life by me, which was, you know, G Money. He is a heartbeat of Herbs Rye, and really why we're open today. Not me, but
you want to talk about the electrocution story?
So no, not right now. So when we opened up, yeah, it sounded like a good fucking idea. Like let's open up. Short story long, but long story short, we opened up Herbs Rye 2009. The economy had crashed. I had a pretty strong budget for what I did, but we built everything ourselves. We hired no outside labor, no contract, no nothing. So everything you see in that place was built by myself, a guy named Eric Yuri, and Joella, his beautiful wife. Her mother hung the wallpaper at the restaurant. My brother Eddie built whatever was broke. My father fixed the air conditioners, the swamp coolers, and Mike Washington and chiseled tiles, and we did everything. We did shit that we didn't even know. And we put the tiles up in the bathroom. I don't do tile. Like, not only do I not do tile, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But we did it, and in all this myths of building Herbs Rye, and getting through these times and looking around and not seeing cars drive up and down the road that you're at, and going to bars that are number one in your city and they're empty. And here we are off of Saharan Valley View. I mean, let's be honest, we're in the hood. We're not in no nice neighborhood. It's like we're not downtown and we're not on the Strip. Like, we are in the artery of Las Vegas, where there's $1 million homes, and then there's, subsidized living, then there's housing projects. It's a tough area. But that same year, my brother got cancer, who was my backbone when it came to anything legal, logistics, and to top it off, he was my best friend. So he had gotten ill that year. We opened up, and people just didn't show up. It wasn't what we thought. You have this vision, this goal, this dream, and all you want to do is express it to other people. We knew if we can get people through the doors, they'd come back, but we couldn't get people through the doors. Our servers, Ronnie will tell you the story, and a guy named Luis Avendano, who actually left to go into the Air Force, but he would stand on Sahara, the main road, and hand out paper flyers until they got their first table. They would go 2-3 days with no tables, and they wouldn't leave. Wow. They believed in the vision,
And Ronnie's still there.
Ronnie's still there now. I remember I told Ronnie one time, I was like, man, this was a year and a half into it. I said, Ronnie, if I could, and he says this to me probably once a week, just to remind me. Like, I'll stand in the service hall and just kind of look over everything, and he'll just pat me on the back. He's like, you remember when you told me all I need is $1,000 a day to stay open here? And I would tell him that. That was a year and a half into it. Our first days that we opened up, I remember, we'd bring $365, $400.
Wow.
There's 4 of us working. 4 of us. We're at 35 people now, the infantry has grown strong, but it wasn't always like that. I have people who operate the kitchen now who didn't cash checks and would look at me and say, if you don't make any money, we don't make any money. These are cooks. They don't make tips. And they got families. They got kids, That's loyalty. That's why we're still open. I can't explain it. I remember my dad unscrewing light bulbs in the large dining room to save power. I remember one time the breaker box.
Oh man, I left the lights on a couple of weeks ago.
My dad won't let it go.
Lit me up. He lit me up.
There's only one person that yells at the restaurant. It's my dad. and everybody just kind of laughs about it because he just old school Mexican. He just, that's how he is. But going through the grind of that, you have to realize my father, and obviously there's a lot more that goes into what Herbs opened. A lot of it, can't go on record, but my father put his trust into me to open this business, and financially backed me as well as myself. I graduated with a 1.0. I graduated, probably last in my class. I graduated with contemporary math. And I'm not proud
One
of
plus one
equals B.
I'm glad you graduated. I didn't.
I remember my dad didn't buy me my cap and gown. He was just like, I'm not buying you a cap and gown. There's no way. If you graduate, oh my God. We in Nevada is last. And my dad was never one to sell me short. I mean, we grew up from hard time. My dad lost his arm when I was 5. And he raised 4 of us. My mom never worked a day in her life. He's a man.
He's tough.
And you got to realize, going through what I went through or what we went through, I didn't have somebody that I could look at and say, hey, Dad, I'm having a hard time. Because my dad would look at me and be like, hard time, motherfucker? I'll show you a hard time. You need to get this. This is going to work. You're going to make it work. And I remember him telling me one time, he was just like, if it wasn't this hard, then what are you going to talk about when you're older? And that's the truth. That's what we're doing now. We're talking about it because it wasn't an easy ride. It wasn't, smooth goings. It was real tough. I don't kick myself in the ass for it. I don't regret any of it. You live and you learn. Hindsight's 20/20. But I mean, we went through it, man. Look. Whenever we get awards or we get anything, I can't express to you how much goes into that for us, for the simple fact that I know what we went through. We were in a bar that opened up and they had success. And I'm not bashing any of the mainstream bars, but a lot of bars, they open up and they're in a big city and they're, and their struggle was, we was kind of tough at the beginning, but we really went through it. I mean, I sold my car to pay a payroll. I have a daughter. At that time, I have one daughter. At that time, I had one daughter, and my girl was pregnant with another. And I had to let my house go to pay the bills. I went negative in my account. But we just never gave up. Nobody ever gave up. It wasn't just me. Nobody ever gave up. And that includes my family, and everybody top to bottom. We went through it, but most importantly, we went through it together. And that's why we're still here together.
There's this one story that he told me about it. I believe it was your aunt or your grandmother. That day when she noticed you had this look in your eye of determination, and I'm not going to get too much into the story because it's extremely powerful. But it was something that happened, and Nectaly just had this look and this strength.
My family sat me down. My family sat me down and said, "When is enough enough?"
Yeah.
And my grandmother was there.
Yeah. And he got up from the table. Long story short, your grandmother said, "Let him go. It's gonna work," because at that was the point of what had happened in terms of becoming successful.
Wow.
And then,
she said, she had said, that's the look his father had when he lost his hair, or something like that.
Yeah, something to the effect like that.
It was like, he's not gonna give up. So. It is what it is, man. I'm not here to give up, so I don't think anybody is.
No.
But I mean, at the end of the day, thank God first and foremost that we made it. But blessed in disguise, we're here now, and we're here to make noise.
And then he brings me on board, and I was going through a lot myself. But then to see what Herbs and Rye was doing in Las Vegas, and to the community, and what Nectaly was doing, and for him not to have gotten, or the team there to have not gotten the recognition when he brought me on board end of 2013, beginning of 2014. It was a relentless effort for me to get on social media, on Facebook every day.
And you know what? It's funny
Instagram
because
every day to shove it down people's throat.
I get the awards and all that, and I congratulate everybody who does them. I don't do it for the awards. I do it for us, and it's really that. So it's always icing on the cake. It's always great to be recognized, but it's not on my top priority list.
Mm-hmm.
My top priority list is to see futures and to see people happy and just to be happy and just to live life, man. That's one thing you'll always hear me. Every time you see me, I'll always say, living the dream.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where he and I separate a little bit in terms of philosophy.
That's where I'm at, man.
Because I would. Fucking you motherfuckers are going to pay attention to this guy. He fucking deserves to be there. Because I travel and go to other bars and stuff, and bullshit. this is not good. These drinks. Why did you just shit on me, man? Like, how come you didn't say hello to me? You didn't think I knew anything about drinks. And then I see the hospitality and the grace this guy. I felt very committed and very strong at that particular time to make sure that, and whatever else he was doing on the side, winning comps and going to Peru and doing incredible things. Thank you. That's all I'm going to say, Nectaly, for just tolerating my obsession with giving everybody a big finger because I was just fucking angry and I just wanted to have that stage.
You know, it is, you know, life's a journey, man, and I'm just enjoying mine. And I'm enjoying it with the people that I'm around. It really boils out to that.
Well, I sincerely appreciate you guys sharing these stories with me. I could talk to you guys all day, but unfortunately, we do have to wrap it up.
Sweet.
I can't express to you how much the experience really resonated with me. You know, sharing the evening with you guys a couple nights ago, and definitely looking forward to get back for some more good memories, good beef, good drinks.
Get you on top of the bar.
There we go. I'll play that game.
Holding a ribeye.
Holding a ribeye.
There we go.
To beef or not to beef? That is the question.
Until next time, gentlemen, much appreciated.
Cheers, brother.
There
Thank
we
you.
go.